Hi, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa, and you can call me Velisa if you want. And this is episode 99 of the Everybody Hates HR podcast. And we have a very special guest in the studio with us today. Chin Chin, do you have anything to say?
Please, ideally nothing. You have nothing to say. Listen, guys, this is going to be a short episode. We've got to wrap this up. We've got to wrap this right up. So what's been going on?
Yeah, what has been going on?
I mean, I got a puppy.
Yeah. You got a puppy?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's been going on?
Literally, that's my whole life now. That's been what my whole life is for the last...
Yeah, the last time we saw each other, you were on your way to get her.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and now she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's farting.
The farts stink.
It's disgusting. Actually disgusting.
Yeah. She's cute.
She's cute. I'm hoping that she be quiet, but she's the first time in the studio, so there's lots of things that she wants to explore. So we tried to let her have a couple of minutes, but yeah. Let's just start, please, because this is going to be a heavy edited episode.
So I feel like we're ending the year really well.
We had our Christmas party.
Yeah, we had our Christmas party, the alternative Christmas party.
Yeah, that was good fun.
It was really good.
It was really good fun, you know.
Yeah, it was really.
I want to say it was stressful in the lead up, but obviously we had the last episode when I spoke about, like, you know, obviously experiencing like signs of burnout and stuff like that. And so just to be transparent, in the couple of weeks before, I was like, I don't think we can have the party. And I said that to Velisa when I got back from holiday. And I said, I think we should just cancel it because, you know, I really don't have the capacity to do anything. And there was a few, and then Velisa was like, oh, you're overthinking it. I don't think that it'll be fine. And then to Velisa's credit, and I really do love you, and I've said thank you, but I just want to say thank you again. Like, Velisa was like, just let me do it. Everything that there is to do, I'll do it. And then you just chill. And that's what we did. So I had so much fun at that party because I showed up like a guest.
Literally, Lola was like, I don't know why you were overthinking it. Like,
yeah, but I literally showed up like a guest. The fact that this dog is looking at the camera is crazy to me. She's looking like she's
she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good, and like thank you to everybody who came, and you know, bigger and better for the next one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was really good. So yeah, episode 99, one away from 100.
Crazy.
The biggest hater for the podcast is actually in the room.
Me.
And yes, I never thought that we would make it to 100.
I think you must talk about Chin Chin because it can't be me. Can't be me.
This side of the year. And we've made it.
You know what it is? At the time when I made those remarks, look, I can look at myself objectively, and I can look at you objectively and say maybe we weren't being as consistent. But you know what? One thing about me, I'm good at working towards a goal.
Yes.
So if there's a goal,
we've worked towards 100.
Yeah.
And can I just say, because I feel like I need to say this. So a couple, maybe like a month or two ago, you could say that Velisa had only edited one episode. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say that things have changed. I'm over it now. I've done what.
And how many episodes have you edited?
Out of the almost 100.
It doesn't tell how much thinking.
4?
Is it 4?
I think so. 90, 95, 96. 97 and 98. See, look, you see, biggest haters in the room. Yes.
Okay, fine. 4.
Yes. No, and then plus the one I done ages ago. So 5.
I don't know if it's...
No, don't do that.
Is it 5?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well done.
Maybe 4.
Let's not split hairs.
Out of 100, that's a good percentage.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie.
40%.
It's like 4 more than I thought you'd ever do. So, you say 40%? Please. She stood up. She said, what the hell? This woman can't add.
Oh, God.
Can't add.
Yeah, it's not 40%, but in my head, that's about 40%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than I thought you'd ever do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm proud of us in general, but we leave that for next week.
Yeah.
She's sleeping. I told you she'd settle down.
Oh, she's gone to sleep.
Yeah.
So do we have to be more?
No. She's like a baby. You know that they can sleep for anything.
Oh, okay.
But she gets FOMO in it. So if it seems like we're having too much fun, if we start laughing, then she'll wake up. But that's fine.
What's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so this episode is we listen, we don't judge.
Yeah.
The HR edition.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, Lola?
I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like, well, we're going to share confessions with each other, specifically related to our HR career or our work life or whatever.
Both.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you go first. So set the pace.
Okay.
We listen and we don't judge.
So in my early career,
I don't know why I'm laughing already.
In my early career, I may or may not have had, like, maybe, you know, had a grandma die about 6 times.
Was it a grandma? I hope
it's the grandma that I never like knew because she died before my time.
Okay, so, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you I even think that sometimes, like, you know, you just want to do for your family. So I feel like if she went, she would want to help you.
No, you took the words out my mouth.
So she would want to help you. She would want you
to help me.
She would. She would have died. So she may as well be able to use that to support yourself going forward. Were there good reasons that you needed to use these excuses?
I was young. I was in retail, and sometimes I needed to go to my friends' unis to have a time, and you know they wouldn't give me the day off. So you know, Grandma, God rest her soul, was like, "Let me help you out a few times."
Yeah,
and you know, we listen, we don't judge.
Yeah, I'm not judging you.
Thank you.
I mean, a little bit, but I was at first. But then when I found out it was a grandma, I was really past. I thought that was fine.
Yeah. I want to do. You know, I wouldn't do that to my grandma. So
I don't think your grandma would allow it. She'd still beat you.
No, God forbid.
Okay. Let me have a think.
We listen. We don't judge.
Oh yeah, I mentioned this to you briefly, but I never gave you the story. So I actually once had a disciplinary, a very serious one.
The golden child had a disciplinary.
I had one, and do you know what? Yeah, I think it's a repressed memory, because like recently it popped back into my mind. And I was like, oh, that actually happened to me. Because remember, I've said before, I've never experienced, but I have been the subject of a disciplinary in my corporate life.
That's crazy. That is in your corporate. Yeah. Mine's just my retail life.
No, mine was corporate life. It was actually quite serious.
What happened?
So this is what happened. I'm on name and shame. Yeah. So in maybe 2018, there was an incident in Bond Street Station, and it was like, please evacuate, whatever. So I took a video on my phone and I posted it on Twitter. I was like, oh, something's going on at Bond Street Station. The Daily Mail contacted me and they said, okay, can we use this video? I said, for you, absolutely not. Yeah, you can never. I do not give my permission. So all these papers were asking, and I was like, nope, because they were all trash papers in it. Like, I'm like, so that they can say black woman in the middle of no. Either way, I don't want to put you on this paper. Next day, someone tags me. So, oh look, the Daily Mail have credited you in their on the website, like they're using your video. So I sent an email and I said, I sent it to a legal team. I said, you do not have the right to use this video. I did not give you permission to do so. And if you want to continue using it, no, number one, absolutely, you need to take it down. If you're going to take it down, I expect to be paid, I want £500 for you to use that video on your website, because you might even ask me. What I didn't know was that the Daily Mail was a client of the consulting company that I worked in, a big client, right? So instead of the Daily Mail to respond to me, what they did, and I sent it from my work email address. Yeah, which I would say is a rookie mistake, but you can use it for visual or whatever. So then the Daily Mail, someone obviously someone in the legal team was panicked and they said, oh, this person works at a client. So someone senior from the Daily Mail then contacted someone senior at the consulting firm that I worked at, not Deloitte, another one, and it was BCG. Yeah, and then they contacted them and said, oh, sort this out. So rather than them to be like, oh, we made a mistake, they tried to put, and it's obviously their client, isn't it? So, and Daily Mail pays this, like my employer, a lot of money. So it's sort of like, this is the thing that's going to collapse the client relationship. But they're like, look, we pay you, your employee shouldn't be sticking us up for £500. And it was the principle of it. So then they came to me and was like, oh, you use your email inappropriately, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, I didn't. like, I use my email, whatever. They was like, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So obviously, I know the people in HR that are doing it, and I was really upset at the time. Like, my manager came, she asked me these weird questions, and they ended up having to have a disciplinary. And I went by myself, and I was just saying, like, this is what happened. I was really upset because I was like, this is like, and I'd said in my email that I don't support the Daily Mail politically, so I don't like want to be affiliated with any way. So I'm like, am I in this disciplinary because politically, like, I'm being persecuted for my political opinion and because I don't want to be associated. And obviously they couldn't, like, they realized, oh, we can't do that. So then they tried to put it down to like email use policy. Anyway, I ended up getting the MD that works with me, right? And my we had like a team night out. He pulled me aside on the team night out and he said, look,
on the team night out.
Yeah, he pulled me aside. Obviously, he'd been drinking at this point. And he said, look, I understand you're going through this process. I know you probably don't want to talk about it, but I promise you, you'll be fine. It's just something that we have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just something that we have to do. You'll be fine. Your work is too good. You're not going anywhere. You're not going nowhere. I think I'd been there for like 6 months at this point. And I was like, you're not going nowhere. Let's just try and get through it. Yeah. Anyway, I got a warning, and then I was like, they gave me a first warning, and then I was gonna appeal it, and then I just thought, the MD was like, look, please, like, we just need you to focus on work. It's not going to make any difference or whatever. And obviously that is funny because that MD, I'm still in touch with like a lot of people I used to work with, but recently, like actually, in fact, a couple of times since then, because I left there to go and do another job, they've asked me back. So I'm just like, surely if you get disciplinary on that, the do not hire list, but I'm on the please rehire list. Like, I get approached probably like once every 18 months if I'd like to come back. So yeah, I got a disciplinary. So yeah.
Damn. It's not your fault though. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those ones where if they, number one, Daily Mail is so scummy. That is like, it's always been scummy, but that is such a scummy move. Yeah. You're trying to hold
always do stuff
but you're trying to hold my livelihood. You're trying to make it seem like if I don't drop my thing, and that was like, obviously it was unsaid, but it was like, if you don't let this go, I followed up on it. What are you gonna do? I followed up on it on my personal email address. What are you gonna do? You can't beat me. The only issue you had was that I used my thing, and they was like, "Are you gonna let it go?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna let it go. Are the two things linked to my employment?" So yeah, they, rather than just do what they're supposed to do, they tried to hold my employment to ransom. But what they didn't know is that I'm too good at my job to be fired.
Wow.
So yeah, Daily
Mail are just so
scummy. They're so scummy. I would never like. Oh no! And I did a data subject access request by them, by the way, around that, and they sent me back some information, and the only thing they sent me back was my email that I'd sent to them, my 2 emails I'd sent to them, and I was like, "What about all the emails that you had internally?" They said, "Oh, something about it's there's an exemption because of X, Y, and Z." And I was just like, "It's not this. Like, if you don't like it, complain to the ICO." And obviously, as we know, the ICO don't do nothing, so.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
A disciplinary. I'd love to see you in a disciplinary.
The thing is, that was 2018. So it's not even that long ago, but I'm a different person now. I don't have an employer, but I would love to go into this. In fact, I've even got my next one. Go on.
Okay.
We listen and we don't judge.
I actually don't have one, but I'm thinking... okay, so this is listening and not judging. So sometimes, not my new workplace, guys. Remember, I only talk about the past. Sometimes I, would say I have looked at a document, and then I go to the document, and then obviously it says you need access. And then I say, I don't know what happened. I've been booted out the document.
No, it's happened to me. That's happened to the best of us. Oh, when we get this, I'm just doing finishing touches. Access denied. That's a heartbreaker right there. But you know what is the other way the other way around it is get somebody who had somebody else who has access.
Yeah.
See if they can give you access. It's like, if the deadline hasn't come yet, why are you asking me that question? If the deadline hasn't come, why are you asking me that question?
Like, it's so cheeky.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely fine. I could never judge you for that. I'd only judge you if you yeah. I'd only judge you if you if you did something dumb, if you went to go and confess.
No.
No, you can't. You have to write it. You have to write it. Well, I said I had one in my head.
We listen, we don't judge.
I have in the past written grievances on behalf of people. Okay, I wrote a grievance on behalf of somebody in my team.
Did you?
Yeah.
LOL.
A team member, like someone I was managing, obviously, and I was in the leadership team as well. I helped them. Well, I didn't write it on behalf of them. I helped them to write it. Wrote 90% of it because that they had a genuine grievance. And as someone in the leadership team, like they weren't being dealt with. And I'm not. I should have been like played the party line and been like, I'm not going to help you. But no, I wrote it. So it probably wasn't the best leadership thing to do. But actually, I'd been a leader in a different way.
Yeah,
so
for real.
I wrote the grievance. And when it came in, I was shocked. I was like, oh God, they've submitted a grievance. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, I guess we'll have to investigate it.
I was shocked. I was almost in tears.
And they had a white refrigerator. Yeah, so I've written grievance and I pretended I didn't know nothing about it. When it landed, obviously the grievance was coming to me. So they said they want to write it. I said, look, the policy says send it to your manager.
Wow, that's a good one.
But the grievance was very valid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you written grievances in general for other people.
Oh, I've done that loads.
Yeah,
I do it regularly. Please don't ask me.
Same.
I do it regularly. Right, you already know. Listen, one day, guys, when I get sign off, I'm going to come on this podcast and talk to you about somebody that I'm supporting right now through a very unnecessarily mad,
it's really stupid
employee relations issue.
It's really stupid.
I have written in the last 4 months, I've written a claim to employment tribunal. I've written 2 grievances. I've written statements to go into disciplinaries. I've written a chronology of disciplinary and grievance. I've also sat in on other people's. I've done it loads of times. Sat in on other people's remote grievances. So the way you do it is, and this is the way I do it is like you call me and then have WhatsApp web open and I'll just tell you what to say if you're missing points, because some people are not part of trade unions and there's no one in their company who they can trust or ask. Sometimes when you're going through something, also you don't want everyone to know your business, and also other people, you don't want to ask people because you're afraid that if you're being bullied, you don't want to drag someone else unnecessarily into it. So I'm not even ashamed of that.
Me either. I do it all the time. I won't incriminate people, but I do it all the time.
In fact, what was the last one I wrote? I wrote an appeal to a flexible working request.
Oh, did you?
Listen, some companies are actually crazy. I don't even think that's an issue, to be honest, like helping people to do things, but some companies are actually crazy. The flexible working request, they denied it. So basically, someone came back from maternity leave. They've had postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, and on top of that, they're quite lowly paid, to be honest, and they've figured out a way to manage childcare. They put in a flexible working request. They did the trial period, so the person's husband took they compressed their hours, so they have 1 day off, and she compressed her hours, so they have 1 day off, so they only put the child in childcare for 3 days. She works in like accounts payable maybe, or whoever does the expenses. And basically, she has the Friday off, and they said, "Oh, actually, it's causing us lots of issues to have the Friday off."
That's a lie. First of all,
because they're saying that people are emailing and they're not getting responses on the same day and
on Friday.
So they was like, "Why can't we just move the day by 1 day?" They said, "No, it will cause too much disruption to the business." And I said, "Okay, well, why don't you ask them if you can work a half a day on Friday? Because I'm sorry, anyone should be able to go for half a day."
100%.
And then, but she can't afford the extra childcare, so she said, "I'll actually I'll work my hours across the 5 days if they'll give me a pay rise." And the pay rise would have been £3,500, and she's been there for 2 years, hasn't had a pay rise. So her inflation means that she's already 2.5K behind where she'd want to be, where she'd need to be to be kept whole. And she said, "Okay, on the Friday, if I do a half day, I can get my parents to look after I work at my parents' house and get them to help." And then they said, "Oh, in the past you've told us that your parents are kind of they're not well enough to look after." Wait, and also they travel, so we don't think that's going to be. And I said, when I saw that, I said, "That's crazy. It's my decision. It's my role to find appropriate childcare, and it's your role to tell me if half a day will work." Like,
it's not your role to tell me if my parents are fit enough to do it.
I'm like, even if I said that to you before, I've now discussed it with them. They feel well enough. We've spoken about annual leave. Like they're gonna take their holidays at an appropriate time, but they said no, we can't do that because we don't trust that your parents are gonna be able to look after your child. Yeah, and then what else did they say?
Some companies just are really taking the piss,
but they have HR people. This is why I don't understand. Like you actually have someone in HR.
Do you know what? Some HR people are really just there to take instructions. Some HR people are not there to.
No, but you have a head of HR.
And some of them are really there to appease the business. Like some of them, that is what their sole job is there to do. It's not actually to make what's the word? Ethic decisions. Like they make decisions that are unethical based on what the business want, and they sleep well doing that. They don't care.
I think it's insane. Like what I'm looking at, but sometimes, yeah, maybe I'm being too generous, but sometimes I think it's being unethical, and sometimes I think it's just being incompetent. Like they just genuinely don't know.
How can you say
like, you know,
that,
the one that the big one I've been dealing with? Yeah. That person
useless.
is unethical, but they're also just incompetent. They're very useless. Yeah, so it's like I've been basically, every time they do something, I'm the one that goes back, or I'm the one via this person, the employee, that goes back and says, actually, no, that's not how it works. Like legally, you have to do this and that. Okay, fine, we'll do that. And it's like you have a whole director of something of HR. Listen, guys, the person I'm talking about will shortly be probably dismissed or leave or something. They will exit that business. And I promise you, at some point, I'm going to name and shame the business, and I'm going to name and shame this HR person directly, because the company, I showed it to you, the company did some profile on them, posted on LinkedIn.
Oh, you haven't showed me, but
yeah, and they commented underneath, I'm so happy to be able to push the company in this for people agenda. I was thinking, no, you're mad for that, because you're actually incompetent and you're complicit in a lot of rubbish. But yeah, so I've written grievances on behalf of my team so that the company will take it seriously.
Yeah, you have to. I think you have to take it into your own hands sometimes, because some of these companies are very mad in how they respond to things.
Have you ever been in and I now I wouldn't do it because it's really too risky, but there's been times where I really wanted to do it, or maybe I was like hoping somebody else would do it, or I might have like I don't know, use my eyes to communicate to somebody that like they have like grounds, or they have something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like when they come and I've said stuff like, for instance, if they say, oh, my man, this has been happening to me, I would easily happily say something to now, like, if that's true, that would be classed as bullying, or if that's true, that would be classed as harassment. But you know, like when, for instance, they're saying, okay, like let's part on mutual terms, and you got an offer of like, you've given them an offer, but you know there's more budget, or like it's a redundancy, and the first offer is there, you know that you could go higher, or the company will be willing, and I'll be like, this is the offer. Obviously, if you might have some people that you need to discuss it with, and obviously if you're not satisfied, then you would be welcome to, you know, negotiate. I can't say that, you know, any proposal would be, you know, agreed, but I always think don't ask, don't get. That's what I would say to them. Mm-hmm. And that's me being like, please ask for more money. I can't give you the more money. Yeah, actually recently, and one of my clients is really cool, so they didn't mind. So they basically said, okay, we can approve up to X number. And I was like, okay, let's go in at 75% of X, so that when they ask, obviously, for more, then, you know, we meet them in the middle. They didn't ask for more.
Oh, they didn't?
No, so we just gave it to them. I just emailed them and be like, oh, as a goodwill gesture, we've decided to do this. I was like, how can you not ask for more? Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I'm being like, because it was a man, I always just assume, I don't know, maybe I'm being like prejudiced, I don't know. Or
you thought
like,
he would ask for more?
I thought he would ask for more. So obviously you go in like lower, and I was just like, no, like, ask for more. He was like, I accept. I was like, no. And then I went back and said, oh yeah, like, I know he had asked for something small, like, I want to keep my laptop. Like, oh yeah, we can't keep your laptop, but here's thousands of pounds more. Like, a new laptop.
Wow.
But yeah, have you ever done that? Like, been like, please, come on.
In so many different types of situations. Yeah. Even when someone's like, oh, you know, I just don't understand, like, I'm being treated so unfairly and I don't know why. So, okay, so who's on your team? Like, yeah, you know, it's Bob, John and David. Oh, so you're the only woman. Oh, okay.
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay. And they're like, yeah, I'm the only woman. I'm like, yeah. But you have to do stuff like that, and in negotiations as well. And we listen, we don't judge. But sometimes if I'm like, do you know what, this shouldn't really be happening to you, I'm like, listen, like, just do what you need to do. Speak to the right people. Yeah. Remember that you do not work for a poor company. Yeah. Just remember that when you're thinking about what you need and like, you know, how long you've been here. Just remember that.
Or when they said, oh, like that, it's hard because obviously we do work for the company and then you have to like balance but for me, I think I'm balancing it because if they're happy, then, you know, everything will get signed sooner. We have less issues. And I could say stuff like, you know, think about how long, I could just give that advice, like how long, you know, you might be out of work, how long will it take you to find another job, like think about what your financial commitments are, how much you would need to walk away and feel like, you know, this is really behind you. And that's literally not 5k, I promise you.
but then on the flip side, when you get people who, you know, actually you have been like, for example, underperforming or something, and then they finally like realize that, okay, they've exhausted all their options, and they're like, oh, what can I do then? I'm like,
I'll be so direct with them.
I'm like,
I will be, but like when somebody I think is forcing it, so let's say it'll be reasonable to give this person £7,000 and they're coming out, I want £30,000 a week. I'm gonna be like, look, I'm not the decision maker here, but I'm gonna be very honest with you, the company's not gonna meet you there. So I'm going to take it forward because obviously that's my job. I'm going to speak to the leadership team about it. But just to manage your expectations, I think it's very unlikely, extremely unlikely that they're going to meet you there. If you want to think about it and revise the offer, that's fine. Or you're welcome to wait for the feedback. And obviously the feedback is going to come and say no. I would just tell them that is extremely
Those are my
unlikely
favorite ones though, because it's like, why
they're delusional.
Like why did you think you would get this much money when you've been underperforming?
They've done one Google search and it's like, oh, you could get up to £30,000 tax free or something, and like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a nice number. Not for you, not for you, mate.
You don't deserve it.
No,
so, like, we're not gonna do that. But yeah, when they're just like, oh, I just don't know what else to do, and they're like, oh, you say that I can't get a new manager and stuff. They're like, what can I do? I'm like, well, you know, we can have a discussion about an alternative.
Employment. Alternative employment. But sometimes I don't know why people even want to, anyway, that's a different conversation. Like, I don't know, like I look at them and I say that God's stronger soldiers, but also they're not. Like, why do you want to stay somewhere where everyone hates you? Like, I don't get it. Like, remember we had that dilemma and the person was like, my manager did this, they did that, they made me work 20 something hours, but I don't want to leave. I'm like, why?
It makes no sense.
Sometimes people want to prove to themselves or prove something to the manager that hates them or whatever, but it doesn't make any sense.
I always think that about the people who, and this is not to say you can't raise a grievance somewhere and stay, but those people where, like, you know, you've been underperforming, you've basically shot yourself in the foot with your manager, your skip level, your skip levels manager, you've raised the grievance, it hasn't been upheld, you've appealed the grievance, it hasn't been upheld, and that means that all these people that you have issues with have to be spoken to again and again and again about the same thing, and then you still want to stay. Why?
And I think like there's professionalism which you should always have, but I think people expecting people to be robots is crazy. So like when you've made a serious allegation against someone, I'm not even saying this is unfounded, but you've made a serious allegation against someone, there's two scenarios there, or a couple. If it hasn't been upheld, you were actually, what you said is true, and they did that thing to you, or they did that thing, and unfortunately no one believed it, or they've acted unethically and they haven't upheld it, or they actually didn't do that. And you know, now, so in the first scenario, they did that thing. You told everybody, you've put them through this process. Even though they're guilty, they're still going to hate you. They probably hated you when they did it the first time. Yeah. And then now in the second scenario, they didn't do it. Oh, they're definitely going to hate you. Like, you just can't win. And I think you can raise a grievance against somebody, but I think it's so, and stay. But I think it's really hard to raise a grievance with your direct manager and not have that affect your working relationship. We can all pretend like it doesn't, but I don't like you. You don't like me. Like...
And regardless of if you're, air quote, innocent or not, yeah, like an investigation or going through any sort of complaint process, like it's hard. You know what I mean? Like putting someone through that, whether they've done it or not, it's going to impact them in a negative way. It's going to impact you in a negative way. So you have to think about that when you decide, like, I'm still going to let this person manage me. Like that's crazy.
And even when you're asking for a new manager, like, is that realistic? When you're working a team of two,
like, you know, no one else does your manager's job.
Who can do this?
Yeah.
Who went? Who listened and who judged? Who spoke?
I think it was you.
Okay, now you.
Wow, you're gonna make me do that after that? Oh my goodness. There's a lot of things. I'm being very very careful. I can't really think of one. I'm trying to think of like a.
I've got one.
Okay, I've got one. It's light though. I feel like I've said it before.
Okay, we listen and we don't judge.
I have often had a tendency where if I feel like someone's not that great at their job, or I feel like what do they do? I go and look up their salary.
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah.
I
go and look up their salary.
Anyone can get it from me.
Anybody. You can walk right past me and I'll be like, let me check.
Also, like, obviously, because I work in small companies, my first one is always to check the CEO.
Oh,
I just like to know, like, what we're working with here.
Yeah. What's at the top?
What we're working with here? Because in big companies, you can't really go and just check the CEO salary like that. There's always all these safeguards in place.
Yeah.
Even though they disclose like a lot of it in some of these companies, but yeah, I do always go straight to the CEO. I like to know, like, what's the CEO make? In a small company, you can it'll just be there.
It's crazy.
And if I'm blocked for him, I'm like, I might say to my career, like, the roles I'm doing, there's no reason I should be blocked from seeing what the CEO earns. Like, I'd just like to know, what number did it start with? Is it a 1, a 2, a 3, a 5, an 8? It's always good to know.
It is good to know.
And the bonus plans.
Yes. I love looking at those.
I like to know. I'm just very curious.
I think it helps though.
I mean, the bonus plan stuff helps to like know the targets and what people are working towards, because it helps you to understand like their motivations. But the salary stuff is just my own curiosity. Actually, the salary stuff does help, because sometimes I'm like, you're acting like, if I think, oh, maybe you're on 250 and you're on 150, like, I think I'm talking about like very senior people, yeah. That helps me, because I'm like, you're not acting like 250 grand worth of CFO. But you might be acting like 150 grand worth of CFO.
I'm with you. That's when I first realized that I liked doing that, because I remember when I was at the pharma company, there was just a lot of jobs where people that would act like their dad was the CEO.
Yeah. Then
I'll go check their salary, and I'm like, you're not even on 40k. Why are you behaving like this? Like, this is not good for you. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do this.
Crazy.
My gosh. Yeah.
I had something in my... I actually want to talk about something that's unrelated to after we listen and not judge.
Oh, I have a mini, we listen, we don't judge.
Okay, go on. We listen and we don't judge.
Sometimes my internet connection is actually okay, but but sometimes, you know, I just don't want to put a wig on, okay? I just don't want to take my head wrap off. So sometimes my internet is not working.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, oh god, do you know this week? Yeah, to be fair, I do that all the time. Like, well, not all the time now, but there have been times where I've been like internet connected, or maybe it has been a little bit unstable, but I haven't checked it in a day, so it might be fine now. But this week, yeah, okay, be scratching. This week, my internet connection has been actually very unstable, and so, you know, like, it's just been cutting in and out. She also jumped down. It's been cutting in and out, and I just didn't really understand why. So anyone that will hear, I've been cussing EE to them, because that's where my internet's with. And then
but who gets EE internet in the first
well,
place?
I remember, you know my situation. Yeah, Virgin let me down.
EE and Sky are like, Sky is
no Sky. I had Sky.
That is the worst.
So EE was actually an upgrade,
ever.
And so yeah, I've been cussing anyone who would listen. I've been talking about EE, how EE is rubbish, but because one time it went down. Come to find out. Yeah, it was on and off. Then it just cut out completely on Thursday. Come to find out, she chewed through the internet wire.
Why are you putting her business on the internet?
No, she chewed through the internet wire. And do you know what I realised? When it was cutting in and out, you know when your charger's broken and like you have to move it in certain directions. So every time, because where my Christmas tree is, like that's where the socket is. So she's just been loving being under the Christmas tree. So all the electric cables have been like put away, because she has no survival instinct. But that one, there's only a little section of the wire that you can actually do, but anything that's like dangles or is free. So I was thinking, she just loves being under the Christmas tree. She's taken all her toys under there, like that's her little spot in it. And then no, she's been chewing through the wire. Supposed to get a new wire. So I've been hotspotting my phone for 2 days, but it's fine now, it's sorted. But yeah, all these times I wasn't lying this time. My internet, my hotspot was only carrying audio on Teams. It was not carrying video at all. All.
Oh man.
At all. Can we talk about Netflix? Have you seen the thing?
What about Netflix?
In the US with their parental leave.
What, they're changing it?
Okay, so basically, how many years ago, maybe like after COVID or something, or maybe even before that. No, I think it was like 2015. Netflix came out and said that like it's really important to them when it comes to like family friendly policies in the US. Yeah, because of, so it's already the ghetto there. Family friendly policy. They think it's important for parents to be able to take time off work, and then they said in the first year of birth you can basically have unlimited leave, so you can take a full year off if you want to when you have a child, which obviously in the UK is like, okay, yeah, as a mother you can take a year off, everyone has that right. But in the US it's like what the FMLA, it's like 12 weeks but it's unpaid. Again, the ghetto. But yeah, so they did that, and then over the last couple of years they've basically been retrenching it, and they've basically taken it down, and at some point they said, okay, typically employees take like 4 to 8 months, and then suddenly they've taken it down, and they've basically said like, well, you know, you can take leave but you should discuss it with your manager before you take it. And basically
when you're having a baby,
like how much leave you're going to take and stuff like that. You know, some of these people come back after like 12 weeks.
Some come back after like
to 8 weeks. So
really
so basically they've been going back on it, and recently they fired quite a few people who were on parental leave. They're saying it's not because they were on parental leave, but people are saying that it's not, they don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of people who chose to take 6 months, 8 months have been terminated whilst they were on parental leave. Yeah, and basically now like they've just changed their stance in terms of like, you know, it's really important to us. Now it's more like, oh, you know, they said it's based on business need, if you can go or not. But they haven't officially changed the policy, but they've just been like backing, like they just made this big statement like, yeah, we care about families, take 4 to 8 months off, you could take up to a year if you want to. And now they're like, well, it depends on the business need.
That's really bad for Netflix.
In the US.
Yeah, but considering like their peers in the US, like the big tech giants, they have, in the US, most of them have like 4 to 5 months fully paid time off that you can take. So for them to say, oh, the policy's still there, but business needs that's really bad.
Yeah, they're being dragged. Like because they're specifically firing people. Well, that's alleged to be specifically firing people who have taken the leave, who are on the leave. So mothers and fathers who have chosen to take the time off. And apparently now when you want to take the time off, people are looking at you sideways. Like, are you like, an employee said that like they had a man, he had said that his wife was expecting, and his manager was like, I hope you're not going to take the full year off. Yeah. Wow. And apparently now it's like a thing where everyone knows it's like kind of frowned upon. So why are you putting the policy in place?
That's so sad. Especially
or just change it so that it's clear. So they're saying even though in theory they still have unlimited time off, because they used to have this thing about typically people might take 4 to 8 months off. It was written down, but you can take more if you want to. Now, because they've taken it out, no one really knows what the norm is. So it means that people are taking less. It's the same thing that happened with those companies that introduced unlimited leave. Like some of them went back because people weren't
not taking less.
Yeah, because they don't actually know, what does that unlimited mean? Am I taking the piss? Let me not take too much. You give me unlimited leave, boy.
I will
as an
take
employee.
Unlimited leave. Trust me, I will. But that's really sad and like disappointing from a big company like Netflix that have actually really good benefits. And like one of those that was one of my favorite benefits from Netflix.
What was?
The parental one.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder if they do all the IVF stuff.
They do. Yeah.
Imagine how we're going to support you with your IVF, but come back to work after 8 weeks.
Wow.
After you have your miracle baby.
Like, can you imagine? Like, you get back to work.
Oh, we're so happy for your miracle, but also come back to work.
I think that's so wild. Like, do you know what? Somebody asked me actually the other day, an American, asked me how long do I think is like okay to take off after
the minimum
having a baby. Like what's
the minimum or what's the norm?
No, as in like no. So it wasn't to do with like law or anything. It's just like as a parent, how long do you think is long enough to take off work as a new mum or whatever?
What'd you say?
I said a minimum of 9 months. Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't had a child, but I would say that like when I've seen people come back, like I worked at a company which had 3 months or 4 months or something pay, and we had at the time I was at Deloitte, actually it's different now, but I think they had 4 months of full pay or some level of decent pay, and then after that it was like statutory. And then we had a secretary in our team, and she came back to work after 4 months. And obviously a lot of the people at Deloitte are very well paid, like managers, senior managers, even like when I was there, I was a manager or even assistant managers, you'll get paid decent. So, and a lot of them are very like 2.4 type families, right? So they have like the mother, and then they probably have a guy who earns a decent amount of money and stuff like that. And she came back after work after 4 months, and everyone was so tone deaf. Like, a lot of them was like, oh, I can't believe you're back at work already. Like, she's here for fun. She's here because her full pay has run out. And even me back then, like, I was so aware. I was like, how can I don't have any kids? I'm young, you guys have kids. I'm younger than you all. And a lot of the men as well, they were saying the same things. Like, why do I have an awareness that clearly she's here because she needs the money?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you have it? It was so tone deaf. Oh my God, you're back already. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. Like, oh my gosh, like, I don't think I'd be able to come back after that. Like, I feel the fact that she didn't burst out in tears in hindsight is amazing. Like, that people obviously need money, so not everyone has the luxury of being able to be like, okay, well, you know, I'll take the 4 months pay, and after that I'll live off my savings, or I'll live with my husband, or I'll make it work, or I'll plan in advance. Like, not everybody has that luxury. So she went back to work, and she used her family to support, like, with childcare and stuff like that, which obviously is
so that she could keep her job.
Yeah, she can keep her job, and that she could have money to pay her bills and her rent. So I just thought that was very sad. So when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, coming back to work after 4 months, like, a lot of my friends that have had kids, they said after 4 months your brain is not even together.
Like, it takes 2 years for your hormones to settle after you have a child. So in that in itself is crazy. And then when you it's just, even but the last place I worked, there was a woman who was in her 40s having her first child. While she was still pregnant, she said to me, bearing in mind, so at workday you do get 6 months full pay for maternity. Anyway. So so she was like, oh, I'm just gonna take like 5 to 6 months off, and then I'm gonna be coming back. She's a lawyer, by the way, so again, she's not poor. She can afford to take the time off. And then I remember, like, as the time came, she sent out a message saying, I'm not coming back. Like, and she ended up taking almost a year, not a full year, but almost a year off. And I'm just like,
I think it's really sad when people are like, obviously when it's not money driven, when it's like, don't forget me driven, or I don't want to take the piss by taking so much time out driven, when women are like, oh, I'll be back in this many months. Like, sis, you have 12 months. Like, if you can afford to, I'm saying, like, use it. But like, there's some senior women who want to come back because they don't want to be forgotten. And I'm like, that's so sad.
It is, but I think a lot of it is you don't actually know how you feel until after you've had a child. And then after you have a child, the way you view priorities and how you view yourself at work and stuff, it shifts, it changes. A lot of the senior women, they do come back, but like, even then I've seen changes in some of them where they're like, no, do you know what, I am going to leave at 4 today. I am going to pick up my own child from nursery or wherever they are. But yeah, I think even some of my friends were like, I'm going back after, because one of them, she was contracting. She's like, I'm going back after like 3 months. I
understand it with contracting. It's like, you need money.
But then when the 3 months came, she was like, I can't do it.
I may have to make it work somehow.
Yeah, like it's, if you can afford to take the time off, take the time off. You know what I mean? Because what a child does to your brain, let alone your physical, is just banter, really.
Do you know what? Going back to that, flexible working, sometimes I look at this puppy and I'm so envious. How can I be envious of a puppy? Look at her. She got a care in the world, but she sleeps proper sleeping. But she sleeps like she has a full-time job.
They always do. Oh, she's so cute, guys.
She's so cute.
Wow, proper sleeping.
Look at the way her body's moving. Anyway, so going back to that flexible working request, when I read the appeal that she had originally drafted, I actually don't have capacity to do stuff. But when I read the appeal that she drafted, I said,
gotta get involved.
I should have never read it. Because reading it made me know that, like, I can't even explain to you. I just have to do it for you. Like, if I explain to you this kind of, it's that whole thing of like, it will take me longer to explain it to you, and then for you to write it, and then for me to review it, then it will take. But basically, as part of the appeal or something, she had said, or at some point in the process, she had said part of the reason that she can't go, the working pattern won't work for her and she has to do compressed hours, that she actually doesn't want her child is maybe 10 months old, and no, it's maybe 10 months old now, or 11 months old, so she didn't take a full year. No, I lied. The child is 13 months old. So she was just like, I don't want to put her in nursery for more than 3 days. I just don't want to do that as a mother. And I just said, I'm going to be honest with you. They're not going to care about that.
They're not.
I'm like, I was trying to explain to her, like, that's a luxury right now. You can't have both. You can't say, oh, I need the reason I can't put her in is because I don't have the money, or because like make it work for me and I'll make it work for you. Because I'm like, you're telling people who themselves may have had to put their child in nursery for more than 3 days a week that you don't want, like the reason you can't, that you want flexible working so you don't have to, like, it's not a good reason. Even though it is a good reason, it's not a good reason for your appeal or for your. And I was like, sometimes I think people forget, like, when you're going into these sort of situations, you can't use your personal circumstances. Like, it can be a bit tone deaf. Like, I just said, I'm sorry, you have to take that out. Imagine the person who's reading your appeal had to, like, put their child in nursery to come back to work. Like, a lot of people have to do that. Like, do it more than 3 days, unfortunately. Like, you're not the first. Like, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm judging, but, like, you're not the first. Even though it's such a valid thing to feel, it's not a good reason to present to your employer. Like, for instance, cost of living is a good reason to present to your employer for a pay rise. Because, well, why you should get a pay rise above anyone else, because we're all facing the same cost of living. Like, we have a issue around childcare in this country in general, so that's not unique to you. I did say that it was the way they were managing it. I looked up so many cases and I said that I think it's indirect sex discrimination, because if you have, like, policies and processes which indirectly affect women, like if you have stuff around childcare and how people can manage childcare, or how you expect people to manage childcare, and it's very restrictive, that's going to disproportionately affect women. So I did that, but we submitted that like a week ago now. So I wonder, we should probably find out. But I put so much stuff in there. Like, I literally found a case which was exactly like hers, which won on indirect sex discrimination because of what they're doing and how inflexible they're being. Like, the company is so unwilling that she actually put forward, like, I spoke to her and we said, okay, I said, what can you do? She put forward like 3 or 4 options, like, move the day that expenses are paid. I work a half day on a Friday, since I have to work on a Friday and it's just impossible. I'll work my normal 5 days if you give me an extra 3K, and then justified it with, like, if I can't make this work, I'm going to have to leave this job, and it will cost you so much more than £3,000 to get a new person in, to recruit them, to train them, time and lost productivity. Like, why would you want to do for 3.5K? They said no. They said she can have 1K.
They said she can have 1K.
I didn't even tell you that part. Yeah, they said she can have 1K. She hasn't had a pay rise in 2 years, and she doesn't earn that much money.
1K.
They said she can have a 1K pay rise. What she earns is in the 20s, and she's not in London as well. But they said she can have a 1K pay rise, and she's 2.5K behind where she should have been anyway. So when you add it all up, it would have been 3.5K anyway. But to offer someone a 1K pay rise, not just inflationary, but you're saying, oh, in acknowledgement of your performance, I'm going to give you 1K. That means I'm still behind. I'm still paid less than I was when you hired me.
That's actually so cheeky.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just to say, like, if you guys are doing any sort of, like, appeals or requests, flexible working, the initial request, I think it's fine for whatever reason you want it. But when you're appealing and you're saying the reason it's unfair is that you don't want to put your child in nursery or something like that, you have to, like, try and give, like, reasons that, people that are going to resonate with people more if you can, especially if you're at an appeal stage.
Yeah. And on that note, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh my gosh, yes, when is this coming out?
Monday.
So which one comes out? Oh, so the 100th episode's come out just before Christmas. Love that for us.
Yeah, so guys, have a good Christmas. Enjoy the slowdown.
Yeah, I'm sure no one's working this week anyway.
Of the Christmas period. Hope you all had fun at your Christmas parties if you went.
Yeah.
And behaved yourselves.
Oh my God, send us your Christmas party stories. If anything crazy happened, tell us please, and we can read them in the new year.
Let us know.
Oh, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah.
That's
all
all
that
guys.
stuff. Bye.